Well, hello guys, welcome to another test ride. Today I'm going to give you my thoughts on Kawasaki's all new for 2017 Z650. Kawasaki's had a lot of success over the years with its ER6 parallel twin, and this is like the spiritual successor to that bike, if you like. As I said, all new for 2017. Lots of things have been updated on this since the ER6, so should be a pretty exciting ride. And there's a lot of competition in this segment, which I'll talk a bit more about in a second, so it's going to have to be a pretty good bike. So let's see what it's all about, eh? Alright, 2017 Z650. Let's give it a shot. So just quickly, before I get started talking about the Z650, I've got some pretty exciting news, and that's that I approached a dealership here in Sydney a little while back about partnering with them to bring you some of these test ride videos, and they were interested in the idea. So I'm very pleased to say that I've got a partnership going now with Sydney City Motorcycles. I feel extremely fortunate to be able to do this because hopefully it will allow me to bring you more of these reviews. I should point out that I'm not being paid by them, so the reviews will be much the same. I'll talk about the bike, I'll talk about its competitors. That aspect of it will remain the same. But the idea being that if you're interested in one of these bikes I ride and you live in Sydney, go pay Sydney City Motorcycles a visit and see if they can help you out. Anyway, I didn't want you guys to feel like you're being sold to, but I did want to thank and acknowledge Sydney City Motorcycles for supporting me on this. And if you enjoy this video, chuck it a like, give it a comment so that they know you're watching it, and hopefully that will allow me to continue to bring you guys bikes. Right, let's get on to talking about the Z650, shall we? So first thing to note is this bike is a little bit different in the Australian market. They want to be able to sell it to learners here in Australia, which means putting a 50 horsepower cap on it. So I think if you guys get this bike in Europe or the United States, it's going to have more like 75 horsepower. But the great news for Australian customers is you can buy one of these straight off your learners. So that's kind of exciting. This is a pretty grown-up bike. But what I want to talk about today is, would I recommend it for a first-time rider? And also just mention a couple of other bikes you might want to consider if you're looking for your first machine and you like the idea of this, twin-cylinder naked bike type thing. Oh, nice. Nice acceleration. Really good. Right, so some stats you might be interested in. I've just mentioned the engine makes about 50 horsepower. It's a 650 parallel twin cylinder, as the ER6 was. But the big news here over the ER6 is that this bike weighs, it's either 30 or 40 kilos less than an ER6. So they've completely redesigned the frame, and I'll splice in a bit of footage here of what the frame looks like. It's got the trademark Kawasaki green on it. It looks fantastic. But yeah, they've managed to shed 30 or 40 kilos off this bike. So it comes in around 180 kilos now, which is much more in line with other bikes in this segment. And with that 650 torque, it means you've got really good pull. And what I noticed straight away is that you get it almost instantly as well. So you're not going to need to be at 7,000 or 8,000 on this bike. You're going to get access to the torque from like 3,000 to 4,000, which makes it really good for town riding. And it means you can be lazy with the gears as well. You're not going to need to be knocking back gears every time you want some acceleration, because you've got that torque there to pull you off the line. I don't have anyone behind me, so I'm going to use this opportunity to see what the brakes are like. So I'm doing 65 k's an hour now. Hard squeeze on the levers. Oh, that's great. So I didn't squeeze hard enough to engage the ABS then, but can confirm that's a good amount of stopping power. Unlike some learner bikes which have just got a single disc up front, this one's got a dual disc setup, which means you get that extra braking performance, which I always like on learner bikes because I think it's a good insurance policy. It's just going to put you at ease, make you feel a bit more reassured in those less than ideal conditions. And obviously you've got the ABS, which is kind of to be expected in a bike that's coming out in 2017. A little quick punt through here. Oh, I really like that change of direction. I'll talk a bit about the ride in a minute, but for a sec I'm just going to enjoy this. Yeah, this is very good, very balanced. I just changed my mind. I thought what I'd do is a very quick detour here onto a little street so I can do a U-turn. So I'm going to try and do like a U-turn here without putting my feet down. Let's get a bit of that rear brake. Oh, lovely. So yeah, the advantage of these big high bars means you've got plenty of steering lock, and I was able to turn it around pretty easily then. So that's a nice little test for city traffic. I think I might work that one into the reviews from now on. That's a good little test. So now that I've had a chance to push it through a couple of corners, just want to have a quick chat about ride, handling, that sort of stuff. So being a 650 naked bike, it doesn't have like top of the line suspension on it. But I think on these kind of roads, like suburban roads, with a few like little bumps and stuff, they're going to do the job just fine. Similar to other bikes in the segment, I believe these are non-adjustable at the front, and you've got a preload adjustment on the rear. So if you want to carry a pillion or you want to carry luggage or that sort of stuff, you can up the preload a bit on the back, and that'll give you a more compliant ride. One thing I think might polarize people on this bike is the dash layout. So I will splice in a bit of footage here so that you can get a bit of a closer look at the dash. But you'll be able to see it's all digital, and the tacho works as a kind of a horseshoe shape across the top of the gear position indicator. And I mean, I kind of like it. It's definitely modern. It feels contemporary. Gear position indicator, which you know I like on learner bikes, that's here. So that's a plus as well. Alright, so we talked about ride quality, but what about the seating position? It's a very uprighty naked type position. So, you know, sometimes you get a bit more lean forward into the bike. This one's very much an upright back style commuter type position, and handlebars are raised, but they're also kind of raked back towards me a little bit. So what that means is that, yeah, I can sit very neutral, my hands fall flat to the bars. I think you'd be comfortable riding like this for quite some time. I'm actually getting a low fuel light, so I'm going to just pop in here and quickly top her up, and then we'll get back into it. I'm really enjoying this bike. It's one of those bikes you get on and you just sort of immediately feel familiar with. It sort of relaxes you, makes you feel confident. Right, so before we were stopped for fuel, I think I was talking about how it's quite a comfortable seating position. I'll say, yeah, you can, there's a nice scallop to the tank. You can get your legs in there and lock yourself in, which is always good for handling. And you can move back and forth in the seat a little bit as well. You've got enough room there to adjust your body position and make it work for the kind of riding you're doing. So that's always nice as well. Come on, BMW, acceleration time. I'll just drop back a little bit here so we can do like a quick kind of third gear roll on. So I'm doing 70 kilometers an hour at the moment. If I accelerate, there's that torque I was talking about. If you wind on at 5,000 or 6,000 RPM, there is plenty of power there. Sounds pretty good too. Actually, that reminds me. While I was stopped at the beginning, I took a sound clip using my good quality microphone recorder. So I'll splice that in now so that you guys can get a bit of a feel for what this 650 parallel twin sounds like. Here we go. Alright, well I guess the last thing to talk about while I'm on the way back is the competition, right? So like I was saying at the top of the video, there's a lot of competition in this like bigger capacity naked bike market, especially in Australia, because these are some of the best lambs bikes you can get while you're still on a restricted license. So yeah, if you're looking at a twin cylinder 650-ish cc naked bike, I think you would also definitely want to check out the Yamaha MT-07. We all know what a great bike that is, and I reviewed one of those about a year and a half ago now actually, which you can check out above. Another fantastic bike in this segment, which was actually one of my favourite bikes of last year, is the Suzuki SV650. I think if I had to separate this and the SV, I think this is potentially a slightly better commuter bike, rack up lots of miles type bike, because it is a bit more upright, it's a bit more comfortable. Yeah, just a bit more easy to live with every day, I think. Whereas the SV650, again, fantastic bike, feels a little bit sportier, I think. It's, you lent a little bit more forward. I don't know what it is about the handling, but it definitely feels a little bit sportier, so maybe that's a good way to differentiate them. And I think another point worth mentioning is you're going to enjoy any of them. I think they're relatively, having ridden all three now, I think they're relatively similar in terms of performance. So a lot of it's going to come down to which one you like the look of, right? Which one really speaks to you. So, the SV, it's got that single front headlight, it's a bit more old school. The MT-07, sort of a bit more contemporary, it's got that kind of more modern look to it, and it's, you've got that whole line of MT bikes that have got a certain look now. But to be honest, I think this is probably the best looking one. Like, this is cool. I love this, trellis frame in the traditional Kawasaki green that you can see. Really pops on this bike. And I think they've done a really good job updating the styling on this, because the ER6 was, not an amazing looking bike. But the Z really has a bit of character about it, I think. It's they've done well on that front. Another point worth mentioning that I just thought of then, if you don't like the naked bike look and you like the idea of like a 650 twin in a sport bike type look, you're in luck, because they also do the Ninja 650, which is kind of the sport bike version of this. So you've got some options in this 650 market, definitely. Which is great, right? We like options, we like choice. So that's just about it, folks. I am just about ready to give this bike back. And before I do, like I said, this is possible because Sydney City Motorcycles are now offering to let me ride bikes and share them with you on the channel. So massive thank you to them. And if you enjoyed the video and found it useful, please give the video a like, make a comment underneath, ask me a question, and that'll let Sydney City know that this is worthwhile, and that way I'll be able to continue to bring you these test rides. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.